Welcome, everyone, to Goodnight and Good Game, your source for geek news for the weeks that were. I'm your host, James, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Hector.
Hello.
And our fantastic producer, John.
It's me.
This week on the show, after the news, it's time for us to finally talk about the IronHeart TV show. But before we start, don't forget that you can head over to Goodnight.gg, where as a patron of our show, you can suggest topics for us to talk about. Also, as a patron, you get access to our off-week episodes. And we have kicked off our Tales from the Crypt series watch, and we just dropped the first episode for free, and just got done recording the second episode just before this. All right, with all that out of the way, it is time to get into the Weekly Raid.
The Weekly Raid.
Welcome, everyone, to the Weekly Raid, your roundup of this week's geek news. Kicking things off this week, in case you missed the drop, the R-rated trailer for the new Mortal Kombat movie dropped this week, and it's something. It shows off Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage, and I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
But it's questionable.
I mean, when you get a Wu-Tang Clan drop in the middle of the Mortal Kombat theme, and I just, like, I didn't want you to get me, but you just came out and you got me, and here I am. So, thanks, bro.
It's interesting because we did watch the original Mortal Kombat, not the original, but the one that came out like 2021 or something.
Oh, you're talking like the Scorpion movie?
Yeah.
Or there was another Mortal Kombat,
yes,
right?
Because this is a sequel to that movie.
Oh.
This is a sequel to that movie that we
That
got
movie
like
didn't have Carl Urban, right?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
Johnny
just
Cage was
sure.
not in that movie whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did Mortal Kombat like 2020, then they did like the Mortal Kombat Scorpion cartoon or whatever that they did.
No, they did a whole movie.
Oh,
It was Ken, damn, I lost his name. He's been in so much stuff.
Yeah, but then they were like, all right, now we got to do our official Mortal Kombat sequel. And I don't know, man, maybe they're still finishing the special effects or something, but I'm getting real Mortal Kombat Annihilation vibes out of the graphics design in this.
Hiroyuki Sanada, he was Scorpion. There was a whole HBO movie, wasn't there?
And maybe Carl Urban doesn't feel like a former A-list movie star?
I don't know, man. But everything about this movie, I don't know. I'm like, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I don't even know what, you know what vibes this gives me watching this trailer?
Annihilate. Oh, sorry, did I take your joke?
No. It's God, what was it?
So not Annihilation.
I just had it. No, you said Annihilation and it kicked the real one out of my brain.
Oh, it does that. That movie does that.
Avatar. The fucking Avatar movie. When you watch the screen and it's just all CG for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, when Shyamalan was like, wait, people are saying I'm a good filmmaker?
Right. and Hiroyuki Sanada's back. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, this seems... I'll watch it.
I mean...
I'd watch it in theater. Sure. Yeah.
Don't watch it in
I'm pretty
theaters.
sure it's going to come just like directly to HBO Max.
I mean, would watch it there at Ross's house on the 80-inch TV.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, because the first one came out during COVID.
Yeah.
And that was, and
absolutely.
we were all like sheltering in place together, so I would come over to your place and we watched the first one.
Ooh.
And we were just like really drunk, I want to say.
That
But
is
it was fun.
CGI. Oh,
But it was
God,
fun.
that is CGI.
Oh, yeah, it is CGI,
yeah.
CGI.
We're not fucking around with practical effects. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. All right. Next up, hot on the heels of a fantastic Nosferatu movie, director Robert Eggers has announced two major projects, A Christmas Carol and a Werewolf. Now, while we don't know a ton about the Christmas Carol adaptation, we do know that Aaron Taylor Johnson has signed on to Werewolf. Lily Rose Depp is in talks to star in it as well.
The hell?
And now we're starting to hear that Willem Dafoe is possibly going to be joining the project for Werewolf. And the release date for Werewolf is going to be December 25th, 2026.
So Eggers almost does nothing without Willem Dafoe, so that makes sense. But now that you've said it all out loud, I am weirdly down for Robert Eggers does the Hammer monsters every Christmas for the rest of my life. Like bring me Willem Dafoe as Frankenstein's monster. Mm-hmm. Bring me, Lily Rose Depp as the Bride of Frankenstein the year after. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep casting these same people in these same roles as different monsters, telling different stories.
Well, I didn't add it to the news because it wasn't related to Robert Eggers, but there is a Bride movie that was announced is being filmed right now. Takes place in the 1930s, I want to say.
Okay.
Well, once I have some more information, I'll actually properly add it in. It's not Robert Eggers doing it; it's somebody else. But yeah, it feels like the Universal monsters are making their way back around in a weird way.
It's probably better than the Dark Universe, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that if Robert Eggers is going to be doing one of these movies for Christmas every year, he's going to be the one that makes the Dark Universe actually happen.
Right.
And he's not actually making it a universe thing.
No, he just wants to make movies
Which is,
about
for the record,
monsters.
how you make a universe thing.
Yeah.
You start out just wanting to make a good movie.
Right? That is how you do it.
No, I am. I mean, it's Eggers. I'm gonna watch anything he makes. So yeah, I'm in. I'm super in.
Next up, Zach Krieger, the director of the wildly good movie Barbarian, is working on a reboot of the Resident Evil franchise.
Huh.
In an interview this week, Krieger discussed how he is a huge Resident Evil fan and has lost track of how many times that he has played Resident Evil 4. Later in the interview, he said that his film is not going to be a slave to the franchise's lore and that he's trying to craft a story that feels authentic to the experience that you get when you're playing the game. That's interesting because a lot of people would say, like, I want it to be like exactly like the Resident Evil lore.
I don't know any Resident Evil fans who would say that. I know, stuck-up video game idiots who might say, like, it needs to be 100% lore accurate. Have you fucking seen the lore to Resident Evil? What in the Christ is wrong with you? That is not a coherent story to tell over a series of video essays. I mean, Noah Caldwell-Gervais did a 7-hour Resident Evil retrospective, 7.5 hours. And by the end of it, he was like, I don't know what the fucking story is, man. I've just described all 8 video games to you, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
You tell me the lore.
In my favorite Resident Evil game of all time, one of the protagonists is stuck in a prison in Antarctica, breaks out, finds their way to a mansion where a brother and sister that are possibly committing incest are ruling over this mansion that she has to break into, and then she finds out that the brother and sister are actually a singular person and that the daughter was actually frozen because they had the T-virus inside of them, and then she breaks out and becomes a monster while another bad guy from the first game suddenly has fire fists out of nowhere and you have to take him down. And that's the barest bone plot of Code Veronica.
Yeah, no, my favorite Resident Evil, the plot is that Leon Kennedy is afraid of the Spanish and the Portuguese.
A European.
Oh no, a European. That is the thing.
All right, moving on from Resident Evil, the wildly successful anime Cyberpunk Edgerunners is not only getting a sequel in anime form, but it was announced this week that there is going to be a manga prequel spinoff. It's going to be released in February of 2026. It's going to be titled Cyberpunk Edgerunners Madness. You can pre-order it now. The book will explore the backstory of Rebecca and her brother as they try to become Edgerunners like their father.
Shit. That sounds amazing. And so does more Edgerunners. And please just keep giving me more good Cyberpunk content. Like, I was saying this earlier to our producer, John, that, anytime I see anything about Cyberpunk 2077, I remember how it launched and how shitty it was. And now when I think about the game, having played it and the DLC and experienced Edgerunners, like, it's kind of a miracle that it happened at all.
And now it's on Mac.
The fact that it's so fucking good, and it's about to come out on Mac. It's going to come, if it's not already out, on Switch too. Like I don't know how they couldn't get that thing to run on a PS4.
No, PS3.
PS3. But here's a Switch 2 running it with like even new and interesting controls and shit. Like this game is I don't know, man. Like, it's a little too good. It doesn't feel like humans made it. That's kind of how that game strikes me. But I felt the same way about The Witcher 3.
I respect anybody who really does multiple playthroughs of Cyberpunk, because I was a person who I did my story. I started as a corpo, ended out as a nomad, and I rolled credits, and I was like, that was so good. I don't think I ever want to play this again. I think I got my story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was just happy
you got
with
your
it.
playthrough.
Yeah.
And you know what? That can be good. That can be your version of Night City. And yeah, I finished my first run through and I immediately started at something else because I liked the combat enough that I was like, I want to make different decisions. I want to go to hang out in different parts of town.
Have you started as a corpo?
I want to romance different people. Yes. I started as a corpo for my Netrunner build.
Ah, yes.
And so
Fantastic.
I am a tech wizard corpo.
Nice.
Yeah,
That is the way to do
it's
it.
fucking amazing.
All right, next up, back in 2020, Netflix announced that they were working on a live-action Assassin's Creed series. And since that announcement, their previous showrunner for it quit over a, quote, difference in vision with Netflix. Now, 5 years later, Netflix has said that the series is moving ahead with new showrunners. That is Robert Patinko, who worked on Westworld and Sons of Anarchy, and David Werner, who worked on the Halo TV series. The quote from them is, beneath the scope, the spectacle, the parkour, and the thrills is a baseline for the most essential kind of human story about people searching for purpose, struggling with questions of identity, destiny, and faith. It is about power and violence and sex and greed and vengeance. But more than anything, this is a show about the value of human connection across cultures and across time.
It's about family.
Look, like
That's a really philosophical way to put the game where you jump into hate.
Can we, and I'm
Right.
begging society as a whole, can we pretend Assassin's Creed already did a whole streaming series? In fact, they did 2 seasons like 4 years ago. And that's the truth. Let's pretend that.
Just pretend
Can we
that's
just
what
all
happened?
accept that they did 2 seasons of Assassin's Creed like 4
No,
years
they
ago?
did not. They did one bad
It
movie.
streamed. It was on
One
Paramount
bad
Plus,
movie.
HBO Go.
They did one bad
And-
movie.
and then we can just not do it.
Yeah, we all forgot about it already.
Here's my thing.
Because you're probably the most experienced Assassin's Creed player.
I
of the
have
panel.
played every Assassin's Creed through 5, which was the one in London. And then I stopped once it started getting once they completely dropped off of the reality bits, basically. 4 is still the best. Black Flag is still the best, probably forever. It needs a remaster. Ubisoft, if you're gonna do anything good ever again, that's the one. Assassin's Creed is and always has been a very fun video game and a very interesting story. And again, this is 1 through 5. I don't count anything after that. A very fun video game and a very interesting story. And if I were to adapt anything to television, it would be the very interesting story, and it would require great actors and a really good script writing that understands the story that they were trying to tell and like gives a good amount of time to each character so that you can like really see what's happening. And we've had stuff like this. We've had Game of Thrones or the Borgias or like so many really good dramatic TV shows about these kinds of points in time. Really good stuff to be happening there. The thing is, those shows would have sucked if the main character spent half of every episode doing parkour. like a lot. Like I would have gotten so sick of that shit. So
I don't know. The Tudors could have been even better.
the tutors would have been better if you had like
just a bunch of parkour going
just
on.
a bunch
Henry
of parkour
VIII
going
with some
on.
parkour.
Yeah. Bring me your head. And,
Yes.
and she just like wall jumps.
What I find interesting about this, and again, this is somebody who I do not play this series. I do not care for it. I try every couple of years and I just get bored to tears. But they keep mentioning in this quote here about how it's going to be across time.
I like that.
So it sounds like they might be holding on to the original premise of Assassin's Creed, the part that I actually liked,
Yeah.
which was it was a story that took place over decades and eras because they were using this virtual reality program to
Yeah, the
understand
idea
past.
was that you sit in the machine and it connects it decodes your DNA in a way to connect you to whoever your ancestors might be. And they just kept grabbing people whose ancestors were like people or assassins or whatever, and they would have them relive those memories so that they could record them and like record parts of history to try and find out where things are now. And we're talking about artifacts, ancient artifacts, stuff like that. Cool premise, cool idea, and very well carried out over the course of several games. Definitely like the first Assassin's Creed and the entire Ezio Auditore trilogy. So like the first 4 games basically before we got Black Flag. No, that was actually the first 4 games before we got the Native American one, which was 3. It was always an interesting story. It always had little twists here and there, and you were interested in the fight between the assassins and the Templars.
Brotherhood?
Brotherhood. That
Yes,
yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. And those that could be very, very good television. But you need to, whoever you are, whoever's making this, don't spend the entire time referencing video games and or putting in Easter eggs for fans of the game. We all played the games that you will be referencing like 20 years ago. So don't like I played those games on a PlayStation 3. So don't feel the need to do any of that. Anytime you get the compulsion to do that, take that bit of your script and throw it in the trash. And just keep making an interesting show about Templars and assassins through time who have plans upon plans upon plans. These people are the Bene Gesserit, basically. You know, their plans are measured in millennia.
Right.
So make that the core of your story, and you have a good thing. If you have a very handsome young man parkouring over buildings, I will immediately watch something else.
All right, everybody. I think we've had way too much fun this episode. So that means it's time to talk about video games.
Fuck.
Steel Hunters, a free-to-play extraction shooter, has announced they will be shutting down their servers by the end of the year.
What?
So keep in mind, this game was revealed at the 2024 Game Awards, and it launched in April, and it is July
Yeah.
at time of this recording, and it shuts down in October.
Yeah, it's hard out there for a pimp. What do I say? Like, if you launched a live service game here in the past year, I wish you all the best. I would polish up my resume. Like, honestly, we're watching the trend die before our eyes, and it's been dying.
The words extraction shooter are coming up a lot when people are talking about failed games.
Oh yeah, extraction shooters, or
live
anyone who
service
tries to
in
make a new
general.
battle royale. But live service seems to be the big thing. It's people aren't coming home and spending all their time.
Well, they
Like-
are, but you know what it is? There's like a dozen companies, and also, you know what it is? It's the lack of physical calendars. So nobody has a sense that, oh, there's still only 7 days this week.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh.
Yeah, I guess I could play 5 of these games one a night
Yep.
for the
It's the
rest
lack
of
of
my
physical
life.
calendars, kids.
We only play what, 1 or 2 games at a time, basically.
We will play whatever the hero shooter at the time is. Right now it's Rivals. I don't expect that to change anytime
Nope,
soon.
Rivals is so good.
considering we played Overwatch for a good 6 years.
Yep.
So it's Marvel Rivals, and then we will rope in whatever interesting game we want to play. Right now we're playing Warhammer Darktide, which is really good. I expect us eventually to switch off to another survival game before we played V Rising. I know I'm
We
very
need to
interested.
finish V Rising.
We do need to finish V Rising. Grounded, because Grounded 2 is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested in Subnautica 2 because it has co-op and be underwater with my
But yeah, we
homies.
only have enough time with our busy lives to have a couple hours a night for the gaming with the boys, basically.
Exactly. So,
Like-
it's either, a fun survival game we can all play together and like craft, and I can like build us a house.
Yep.
Or it's, an extraction shooter to get our dailies and weeklies done.
Yep.
Lack of physical calendars, kids.
Yeah.
Yep. So, by the way, the player count for that game, Steel Hunters, never hit above 5,000 users.
Ouch.
And at time of reporting, they have a little over 200 players consistently.
Aww.
All right. So, Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock, was interviewed this week on their upcoming project that feels very BioShock-like. That's called Judas.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot about that one for a minute.
Now, Levine is a complicated figure in the history of video games, and I'll talk more about that in maybe a later episode. He was notoriously very difficult to work with. He's very full of himself.
He's a diva.
A bit of a diva, yeah. But he was interviewed about the game Judas and expectations for the game and things like that. And Levine said, Judas is an old school kind of game where you, quote, buy the game and you get the whole thing. There is no online component. There is no live service because everything that we do is in service of telling the story and transporting the player. Later, Levine went on to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 and Expedition 33, saying these are games that are really traditional single-player games, and they don't have that kind of monetization in them. And I think that the audiences reward those games, especially in the AAA space, because they can get so expensive that people want other methods of monetization. I'm just grateful that we're allowed to not do that, because that frees us up to purely design the game for the player experience.
That's very fair. That is very fair. Like there's I have no fault with that statement. We've been saying here for a long time that games are too expensive, and that because they have to do that, they mostly lean towards multiplayer stuff where they can make money for years. They mostly lean towards predatory monetization models, and all I want are games, that tell good stories and are fun to play. And if they look worse and are made by fewer people who are paid better to work less, that's what I want. That's what I want. And just do that. And hopefully that gets us stuff like 33 and Baldur's Gate and hopefully Judas. We're doing it right. This is the thing. Yeah, listen to Sonic. Sonic's up on screen right now.
It's very true. All right, so continuing the bad news, now that we've had some fun news, Virtuous may not be a game developer that you're intimately familiar with, but you would know their work. They were actually behind the recent Oblivion remake and are working on Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and also they do most of the updates to Cyberpunk 2077. It's not just CDPR. This is a third-party company who works on all of these things. Now, they had up until this last week about 4,000 people working for them globally. And like we talk so often about on this show, they have decided to cut about 7% of their company's staff. Quote, "We are grateful for the contributions of those impacted. We are providing separation packages, career transition assistance, and opportunities for redeployment across our global network where possible. The company's immediate focus is on managing this transition with care, transparency, and respect. We will continue to invest in global delivery, technical excellence, and creative collaboration, ensuring that Virtuous remains the partner of choice for the world's leading game creators."
You know how we know the industry's fucked up?
This sounds like good news. Like 200 people? I can visualize that. Jesus.
We know it's fucked up when the studio that literally just exists to pick up the slack for other studios doesn't have enough work.
Yeah.
That's how you know a lot of projects got canceled. A whole lot of money that they were counting on just evaporated when probably Microsoft canceled like 3/5 of their fucking catalog, and everything else that's happened, since COVID started when it comes to the gaming industry. Just layoff after layoff, canceled project after canceled project, truly incredible projects. That one that Microsoft just canceled by Rare is like, oh, what the fuck? How could you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? But that's the kind of stuff that the studios like these were helping with. I'm sure their fingerprints are all over probably some of your favorite games. And now they don't have enough work to keep their doors open. And unless they cut their staff. And given the amount that they're providing them, as far as trying to carry them over to the next space, that means a lot. That says a lot. It's not like 2 weeks notice and a slap on the ass.
I think this is one of the few times we've heard that kind of statement from a company. Most of the time it's just like, yeah, we just needed to make more profit. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's the difference between these announcements, because most of the time it's, hey, we need to meet our quarterly earnings. We're axing 9,000 people, and they watch their stock line go up. These guys were like, hey, we got to get rid of people. Here's what we're doing to help them. We hope they land on their feet.
Yeah.
But seriously, I'm weirdly impressed. You say 7, and I immediately add 3 zeros to every number. I'm like 7,000 people. That sounds about right. No, 7%.
7%.
Oh shit! What is
200
that? 200,000 people. That's like a small country. No, just
200.
200.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can visualize that on a table. Jesus. Okay, that's the least bad news I've heard in this area in a long time.
True.
Yep.
Very true.
It's very, very true. And I don't even think the website is currently fully up to date, but there is a website that is tracking games industry layoffs. Currently, as of 7/3/25, the Airtable was updated at about 4,000 layoffs in the games industry this year. That is
This year, it's July.
That is about 2 weeks off currently. So there's going to be
Yeah, does that have the Microsoft numbers in it?
I don't think it has the Microsoft numbers in it yet.
Fuck.
So yeah, that's going to be. We'll have another update when it happens. All right, final bit of news before we get into our main topic, and that is Rafael Coronado is one of the co-founders of Arcane Studios, the minds behind Dishonored and Prey.
Hell yeah.
And he opened up on X this week in the wake of the huge layoffs at Microsoft and had some very strong feelings about Microsoft's Game Pass. Rafael said, quote, "I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging the industry for a decade. It is subsidized by Microsoft's quote-unquote infinite money, but at some point reality has to hit. I do not think that Game Pass can coexist with other models. They will either kill everybody else or they will give up." And he went on to say that he was fed up with Microsoft stating that Game Pass doesn't affect the sale of games.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm going to call myself out on this one because since it came out, since it first came out, I have been calling Game Pass the best deal in gaming because it is. It absolutely is. $10 a month for like first party games day one, for like a bunch of indies and a bunch of AAA stuff on day one, and not just Microsoft stuff from all over the sphere. Just great deal on games. And it wasn't until recently that I realized how much effect that has on the way people value your product and what they're willing to pay for. And when I think about what it did to Xbox hardware alone, there is no reason to own an Xbox without Game Pass. And right now, if your game isn't on Game Pass, there is no reason to port it to an Xbox. They cannibalized one of their business models with another. And I think they knew they were doing that, which is why they've been so unfocused on hardware. But the whole situation is, as this gentleman said, completely untenable. Games should not, every game ever made should not be $10 a month. That is that is not how you have art continuing to be made. People need to be paid. People need, if they're going to do this for a living, if they're going to entertain people like me who loves this shit for a living, like it can't be $10 a month. Even from every human on earth, it's not enough. These games get more expensive all the time, and that's the fault of technology and demand, not anybody who works inside the industry. So yeah, again, with the Sonic emoji, games need to be cheaper, and developers need to be paid more, and you can't do that on a $10 a month subscription model for everything. And he's right, Game Pass would eventually be the only game platform, or they have to close. And I'm worried about what happens when they close, because everyone who is paying $10, $12 a month or whatever they're paying is going to lose access to whatever library they had. I don't know, man. I might sound like an old saying this, but the Steam model works. It really does. You know, games are what they are, and they go on sale for people who need sales. And the older a game is, the better of a deal you can get on it. And there's great games in there. There's every kind of game ever on there.
And for the record, I have the graphic up that you're seeing now, which is Game Pass's upcoming games. Because, Hector, when we were watching a video today, you saw that, and you said something to the effect of, well, nobody's going to buy those games.
Yeah, exactly. And then I look at Wheel World, which looks so fucking cool, and it's an indie by the developers who made Nidhogg. And I want people to buy that. Yeah. And people who are on Steam who don't have Game Pass will. But and maybe some people on other consoles, but like, you know, they're gonna sell fewer copies because they're coming to Game Pass, and Game Pass numbers are hard to track. And a studio with infinite money can afford to say, "Well, look at how many people played our game. That's like stock value, right? Like we can sell that to the higher ups.
Oh, absolutely.
Our line might go up." But the studio that made the game isn't going to get any of that money.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest pieces of news that came out over the last few months when Expedition 33 came out was basically along the lines of, this is how many copies Expedition 33 sold in spite of being on Game Pass.
Yeah, without Game Pass. Like, those were the numbers they had to present.
Correct. And they were on Game Pass. I believe they still are on Game Pass. But yeah, Expedition 33 made its mark. And did what it did because it was released to the public. It was released everywhere. But when you have and we should dedicate a much longer boss room to this at some point where we can kind of discuss the Game Pass model.
I'm sure once I finish 33, we'll do a whole episode.
We could do a whole episode on it and kind of what that means to publishers. I also have some friends that work in the games industry. I might reach out to them and ask them just personal opinions about the Game Pass model and what it means for them. But yeah, we're in a very complicated time where something like Game Pass is such a great value, especially somebody who is like me, poor most of my life. The idea of a Game Pass is that was one of the reasons I had Xbox Live as long as I did, even when I was poor, because I only paid so much a month. But hey, I got like 3 free games a month.
Yeah.
And it was great, and that's the reason that I still see Game Pass in that same light. But we need to sit down and actually discuss the economics at some point about Game Pass, what it means for the publishers. I might have to do a little research on my part just to speak to some people in the industry so that we can speak more intelligently about this. But yeah, Game Pass it's a great deal, and it also might be hurting developers, and we need to have a serious conversation about that.
Yeah. The model is bereft. Look, we have other studios. Sony, PlayStation Plus. I don't like that they charge you to use the internet. That's fucking stupid. Stop it. That being said, there is a value that comes with PlayStation Plus in that they give you a couple free games a month. And they're not the game. The week God of War Ragnarok came out, they didn't give you God of War Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. But 2 years later, they did. Yep. Because if you haven't played this, you really want it. And also, here's a couple indies and even a couple PS4 games if that's who you are. But there's always a little smattering of something to keep you there. That's a decent model. That's a good value, and you could argue $10 a month for something like that. But
all those PlayStation games are permanently in my library.
Yeah, exactly. But the day one AAA releases, from studios from games that cost $300 million to make, what are we going to do with that? How are we going to do that? Come on.
All right, well, that's everything that we have for the news this week, but stick with us as we get into our main topic in the Boss Room.
Boss Room.
Hey, everyone, welcome back to the show. It is time for the Boss Room, sometimes related to the news, sometimes not. This is the part of the show where we can dive deeper into our opinions on things, like this week's topic, IronHeart. So, the Disney Plus series is wrapped up now, and it's time for us to talk about how we felt about it. Ooh. So, if you're unfamiliar with the title, IronHeart is the story of Riri Williams, a wildly intelligent MIT student who is trying to create her own version of the Iron Man suit. But to do so, she needs to find funding after she gets kicked out of school. Shortly after arriving back in her hometown of Chicago, she gets mixed up with a local group of thieves and finds her life and livelihood threatened by that group shortly thereafter. I think I summarized that okay.
Yeah,
I did write that summary, so yeah. I feel good about that one. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about IronHeart.
IronHeart, oh man.
It was like 6 episodes, right? Yeah.
6 episodes on Disney Plus, released 2 weeks back to back.
Yep.
3 episodes one, 3 episodes the other. I think the first thing I really have to talk about in the show is how amazing the cast is.
Yep.
From the main actress and her best friend, who are both incredible, to there is not a weak link in this show. The cast of the villains and the crooks who are your friends and then villains, the cast of her family, everyone bringing their absolute A game to this. And we've talked before about bad acting in Marvel stuff, especially the TV shows. Actors phoning it in. None of that is happening here.
Never.
Everyone is just killing it in this show. Mm-hmm. Everyone. I can't stress that enough. I can't stress enough how much all of the talent in this show has all of the actors are just believable and likable. Even the ones who are bad guys, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point, right?
The
thieves start off as her allies, and you really kind of learn to really care about them before they turn on her because bad things happen, bro.
Yeah. It adds some stakes to everything when you actually care about the people, and man, the show brings it. Again, only 6 episodes, but not a single character I disliked.
Mm-mm. So the initial premise kind of rushes into itself with that first episode, which is getting kicked out of MIT, having to go back to Chicago, stealing your equipment from MIT.
Right.
basically, in traditional superhero fashion, having the suit and then losing the suit immediately afterwards so that the hero has to rebuild from scratch their suit.
Yeah, they need a new suit.
There's
Iron Man 3
no
style.
nothing about that part of the story is original, but it isn't about this suit, right? It is about Riri Williams.
That's right.
Her trying to exist in this world. I find it interesting because if you follow Riri in the comics, Tony Stark, a hologram of Tony Stark is her mentor and walks her through all of these things. The character of Natalie, which exists in the comics as the AI that works with her suit, is not the mentor figure, but is the primary AI that Riri deals with in this show. And at first, I found the character of Natalie a little bit jarring. I was like, oh, this feels weird that your like dead friend is your AI. But man, by the end of the series, I loved the two of them because their chemistry in every scene felt like two friends. Like I felt like if like I had an AI of you in my suit, that's what it would like. We would be talking shit to each other like that.
Yeah, no, they made it incredibly natural, and they didn't walk the audience through the moral implications of it. They just let it sit there. They just let you sit there with the characters looking at an AI of your dead best friend and going, is this too weird? What does this mean? You're not them, but you are to me. But you're not them, but it's not bad that you're here and I need you just like I needed them. It's emotionally torn, but also very interesting.
Every character that gets to meet the AI is somebody who knew that character in life.
That's right.
And part of the interest, the really fascinating part of that is how each different character kind of reacts to it, because you have like Riri's mom, who's just like,
Riri's mom thinks it's amazing.
Great. This is awesome.
She's like, that's incredible. I can't believe how talented my daughter is. And then
like Natalie's brother.
And then Natalie's brother is horrified and literally says, turn it off, kill it.
Yep.
And my immediate reaction is that of Mikey Newman. You cannot make things think and not give them rights. You can't just turn her off. She is conscious.
So it was complicated because, like a lot of superhero origin story shows, we don't see a ton of Riri in the suit, right? We get it a little bit at the beginning, a little bit in the middle, and then the end is really making the suit that she will have going forward.
Right.
And I want to talk a little bit about the side cast. The side cast being the thieves group that she hooks up with in Chicago. Like you were saying, every single actor brings their A game. All of them feel like original characters. They fit the dynamics of a thieves group, right? You have your hacker, you have your two beat smash characters. All of these characters were taken from the comics in some way. They're just a little bit different for the show.
Up, and you have such an awesome cast of like guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Like there's diversity, but nobody is diverse on like on purpose. That's not who they are. The thing they are is the hacker or the bomb.
The hacker from Madripoor.
Yeah, the hacker from Madripoor, or the teen who loves to make bombs, or the guy who's good with knives, or that's who they are. And then the other part is their identity. And it's just, it works so well because it doesn't slap itself on the back for doing it. It just is. It's just, that's who these people are. And it's good. It's really good.
I have read a ton of Marvel comics in my life, but I'm not that intimately familiar with the Hood as a character. Like, I know who he is and I know what his power set is, but like, I've never really read a ton of comics that the Hood was in. Done very, very well.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting because the Hood is one of those characters whose entire personality is based around the literal piece of clothing that he's wearing.
Right.
Which at some points in the show can feel a little bit awkward because he's like just wearing this over like a jeans and a t-shirt.
It's not exactly a hoodie, but it's more of a cape with a hood.
Yeah, he's got this like cloak thing going on and like but as a character, like you really, really feel for him and his relationship with his cousin, who ends up dying in the show, and that kind of kicks the second half of the series into motion, basically. All right, we need to get into the big elephant in the room, though, that has to be talked about when we talk about Ironheart, and that is Mephisto has officially entered the MCU.
Yeah.
I cannot believe who the fuck they got to play Mephisto, and I can't believe I'm kind of okay with it.
I really like it. I like it a lot. So I don't know how to break this to any of you who don't know, but Sacha Baron Cohen, motherfucking Borat,
Yep.
is Mephisto.
Mephisto.
And I, if you would have told me beforehand, I would have been like, is that a joke? How is that supposed to work?
Yeah.
And I know he's a good actor, and I know he can sing. I know he's theatrically trained. I mean, he's in Sweeney Todd, for Christ's sakes, and he's amazing in it. But I didn't peg him for this at all, and I didn't even really peg him in the MCU, to be honest. But this is kind of perfect. Like the role as well. He switches up accents. You know, he feels oppressive without feeling overly powerful and demonstrative. He's just like, he has this aura that he carries with him that, like, I probably shouldn't fuck with this guy. Just it's good. It's really, really good. He does such a great job. Again, the cast, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, if you had told me, like, to my face, like, hey, we're going to cast Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto, I would have been like, this is an April Fool's joke, right?
Right? The My Wife guy?
You must be, like, fucking with me.
Yeah.
And then seeing him on screen, man, he has a gravitas to him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he has the playful demeanor that Mephisto has, but then he'll stop and say something really serious, and you're like, oh, you're not fucking around, are you?
Yeah. It's good stuff. We're eating good.
And from what I understand, like, from behind the scenes, like, people loved working with him. They were just like, he's the most hilarious motherfucker to work with. He ad-libbed a lot of this stuff, you know, where he could.
And he's a consummate professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, apparently just absolute fucking professional. But yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. We officially have entered that part of the MCU, and it's cool to see. And I think that's something that's not really talked about that much, but Ironheart, while we have these, like, weird side appearances, because we have the appearance of what's his name's son. God, I cannot remember the character's name from the very first Iron Man movie. The bad guy.
Yeah. Jonah.
Yeah. So the bad guy from the very first Iron Man, his son, is in the show, and it's a fairly minor plot point. Like
Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, Obadiah Stane. Thank you.
There it is.
That character, his son's in it, and you know he kind of helps move the story along because of his, like, direct connection to technology, and that's kind of like the Iron Man tie-in that they're kind of going for again. But really the crux of Ironheart is this story of technology versus magic. Fucking tale as old as time, and it never gets old in my opinion.
No.
I eat this shit up. You give me technology versus magic in anything, fucking Shadowrun, anything. Like, I will put it in my face. I want it. And it's cool. It was cool to see, like, the magic side of it with Mephisto and getting to see the hood and, like, even Doctor Strange references, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
There's a full-on, like, whole Doctor Strange bit where they go to, like, this little magic shop. Like, holy crap, that was so much fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's stuff I wasn't expecting, which was great because I think this is the magic of the MCU comic verse that we're finally seeing on screen is unexpected crossovers, even with characters you've never met before. But it's like, oh, these are wizards. Like we just wandered into a wizard shop, and like I didn't think we were going there. I thought we were just in, you know.
The fucking reactions of the characters in this show were so realistic because, like, you walk into this shop, and throughout the first few episodes, you're kind of mentally almost making fun of, like, Riri's mom's friends who are like, oh yeah, like, we're, like, you know, throwing down our tarot cards and we're gonna burn some sage in your face and all this stuff, and you're like, aha, they're like that kind of hippie pagan. And then you go to the magic shop and you're thinking, more hippie pagan stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, the little girl behind the counter says, hold on, snaps her fingers, and now you're in, like, another reality.
Yeah.
And then her mom gets really mad, like, how long have you been accessing this reality? You know I didn't teach you that. That's over. And you're just like, it breaks this, like, immersion in a very funny way that's so comic booky.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun to watch them interact with each other. And just, like, all of it did so well at tying into other Marvel stuff without it being so obvious. Like, there's literally references to Doctor Strange. Like, but it's never a direct reference. You're just like,
Right.
oh, that's what a portal looks like. I see that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, why didn't you send her off to Comertage or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
They keep making comments about Comertage. We were all sitting on the couch joking, like, man, Comertage for being such a secret place. A lot of fucking people sure do seem to know about it. Like,
people who do magic anyway.
yeah, and basically the show makes that joke as well. Like, it's just like, yeah, you couldn't go to Comertage because like something had been going on.
I mean, everyone in the MCU universe has like social media, and they've seen a wizard flying on their phone.
Right.
Like just
you have to
New
accept
York
it.
City.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happens.
Yeah. Now, I will say to kind of like, now we've been like really glowing up this show a whole lot. I will say like, overall, I'm not going to put this in like the top 10 of MCU shows that have ever been made.
No,
It's decent. It's a fun watch. I did not feel bored, and I do not feel like my time was wasted.
Here's the thing about MCU shows, right? Like they are so rarely incredible. Like they're so rarely, and
WandaVision.
even the ones that aren't the entire time. We recently watched, Daredevil Born Again, and that had some absolutely amazing moments in it, amazing episodes even, but it wasn't great start to finish, and that's not the bar. The bar is somewhere between Secret Wars and Loki season 2. Right. And like everything just kind of flows in between. And there's a lot of good stuff, especially if you include the Netflix shows. But there's a lot of crap too. And you could even throw, because it was released to streaming only on Disney Plus, stuff like Werewolf by Night in there.
Right,
So you have so much stuff. And I'm uncertain of the future that Disney Plus and streaming Marvel TV has in the MCU now that we're on a slower release schedule and we're trying to release fewer things throughout the year.
But hold on,
how
maybe-
useful is it still?
Maybe I'm out of the loop as to how many streaming series there are. You wouldn't put it in a top 10? Like if we
Ironheart?
counted 10.
Like,
Ironheart would probably be in my top 10, but
Yeah,
it would be
I-
but under 5.
yeah,
Okay.
I would put it under 5, but definitely in the top 10. I forget how many different series there are. at this
There are
point.
so
And
many,
I'm
and if
counting the Netflix stuff in that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
if I
all.
looked at a list, I would have something else to say, but I know there are 5 that are better.
But I mean, yeah, we're talking about things like Loki season 1 and 2. We're talking about things like WandaVision, Agatha All Along.
Yeah.
These are banger fucking shows. Like, I could watch Agatha any day of the week. Like, that shit is so good.
Yeah, and also you have, like one-offs like Moon Knight in there
Yeah.
with
Oh,
like
God,
all of the
Moon Knight.
incredible talent in it.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, we still have yet to receive our Andor. So let's get cracking, MCU. Let's see what you got.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to look at here, but it's a good show. It is above average, which right now, as far as Marvel shows are going, that's pretty fucking
That's the
good.
trend going up.
That it's a trend going up. I feel like a lot of the people that had complaints about Ironheart, how do I put this delicately? I'm sure that some of the people who had problems with Ironheart as a TV show are the same people that got upset that Ironheart, the character, existed in the comics.
Yeah, fucking bigots.
And it's probably a lot of bigots.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, I'm not saying if you didn't like the show, you're a bigot.
No,
I'm
no.
saying the loudest voices about how terrible the show were like, the chief point is why she got to be black,
Right.
and like.
It's
Is that really?
Get the fuck out of here with that. Get the fuck out of here.
What
with
even
that.
is that question? How did you get into my house? Get
Right.
out!
Like, I can't deal with this shit. Like,
no one invited you. Please leave
yeah,
immediately.
Riri has always been a fantastic character, and like people trying to bring that kind of argument to the table is like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
even in the comics, she is a fantastic character with a great legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The TV show does it really. Honestly, the one thing the TV show is really good is really bringing the character into the Marvel's cinematic universe without having to have the required tie to Tony Stark,
Right.
the way that it does in the comics.
They also avoided like we talked about this while we were watching the show, but they didn't even do a lot of like Wakanda stuff.
Nope.
Even though she was in, Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
Directed by Ryan Coogler, who executive produced this show.
Mm-hmm.
They could have gone to Wakanda for anything, for any plot point, but they just had the characters stand up on their own.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorite points in the show was how much, it wasn't the bear, but it really did try to love the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot,
Very true.
It tried to be like, this is our home. This is where we're from. There's all kinds of other types of people in all types of places all around the world, but I'm from fucking Chicago.
Yep.
And like that was the thing. And I love that for so many of them, for the show, for the series, having pride in where you're from, not because it's better, but because it's where you're from is something that I love to see.
Oh yeah, every little detail about Riri's room was just every bit of it was just like loving Chicago as much as possible. Like all of it felt fantastic. Like I believed that this was the same world in which the bear existed alongside Ironheart.
Oh yeah,
a
few times I was like, she needs to go to the beef, like right now.
Right, just go to the beef, like if I can do it. So while Ironheart may not be the greatest MCU show that's been put out, it is a wonderful show. It does deserve having some eyes on it. And if it was a show that you were kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it, all I gotta say is give it a shot.
Yeah, it's a good watch. It's 6 episodes. They're not even all an hour each, and
the soundtrack is so good.
The soundtrack's amazing. It's filmed well. It's acted incredibly. The script, while not perfect, rarely falters. So like it's a good time.
All right, well, that's everything that we have for the boss room, but stick with us as we get into what we've been playing in the epilogue.
Epilogue.
All right, welcome to the epilogue, and it's time to dive into what we've been up to this week, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what has been occupying our free time, and what has been making us happy. John, why don't we start with you?
I finished Borderlands 3.
Good job.
Woo!
And I am here to say, overall campaign, not the narrative wasn't quite as strong as Borderlands 2, but with the DLC and the quality of life improvements to the actual playing, being able to jump and grab stuff and being able to, ditch all the trash loot as you collected the trash loot, I sadly can't go back to Borderlands 2 anymore.
Well, you're now officially ready for Borderlands 4?
Yeah, quality of life improvements. They get you every time.
And the DLC was fantastic. Like, and also the humor, the cringe humor, it was 1-to-1 exactly on par to Borderlands 2. Go back, play them both. Trust me on that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun. I am excited, ... for Borderlands 4.
Yeah, cautiously.
I am cautiously excited. I am excited to wait a full month before actually purchasing it because I am not pre-ordering. I am not doing day one. I suggest here and now we commit
I agree.
4 weeks for Borderlands 4 because fuck Randy Pitchford and his anti-rant against poor people, I guess.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, now you're all ready. It's good to hear about it. Can't wait to hear what you're going to be playing next.
Should be good.
I think I'm going to try. I'm trying to get my lady to sit with me, and I'm going to hand her the controller to do Little Orpheus. Huh?
Okay.
Have you guys played that?
Good luck. I have not, no.
It's very much a side-scrolling, occasional jumping narrative.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to be down for it.
Have you ever heard of Thomas Was Alone?
No, Thomas Was Alone.
I would check that one out.
Okay.
Same basic idea. Interesting narrative over the top. Very little required of you mechanically except to solve puzzles. You are a shape, like a square or like a Tetris shape. And you solve little puzzles by fitting into places. And the narrator talks about you in a snarky British accent the whole time. Thomas Was Alone.
Yeah.
Copy
All
that.
right. Hector, what have you been doing?
Well, besides the last thing we'll talk about, let's see. What have I been doing? I've been working a lot, man. Work. Other than that, I've been playing Rivals again with the boys. New season's out. It's been a really good time. Been pumping a bunch of time into Darktide. Unfortunately, I haven't put a lot more time into 33 lately because work is hard and my weekends are full. But as soon as I get some time, I'm going to finish that bad boy so that we can do our episode.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do a full-on big old spoiler episode about
it. Yeah. I watched a video that our producer, John, made. I got an early sneak peek, and I think it's great, and we'll tell you all about it when it launches.
Thank you.
That's on his own channel, not ours. So you should subscribe and like and stuff.
Link below somewhere.
Yeah. But other than that, I watched and finished the 4th season of The Bear. Is it 4th?
Yeah.
The 4th season of The Bear.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. I mean, that's probably why I've been mentioning it. I've got it on the brain.
You're just thinking about all that beef.
I want more beef in my face, please. You heard me.
Let's see, what have I been up to? So I got a Steam Deck because we're going to Japan.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was the present to myself for the very long plane trip. Instead of playing something new on my Steam Deck as my first game, I decided to pick up something that I played before, but I played previously on my Switch, which was Hades.
Yeah.
I have now, and I've only had it for about a week. I've rolled credits for the first time.
Nice.
So that was my 10 wins. Man, the Steam Deck is so good. Like, I could sit here for hours and talk about how good Hades is, but like, now that I've had my hands on a Steam Deck, holy shit, is that fucking little machine so good.
It's an amazing piece of kit. It really is.
There are so many games that I want to play that I only have on Steam, but sometimes after, 8 hours of being at a desk for my job, I find it hard to want to sit at a desk and play a long form game.
Right.
Like Cyberpunk I did, but that's just because I wanted something that looked graphically better. But for the most part, my computer is used for either our podcast or whenever games with the boys after work, right?
Yeah.
That's like 2 hours, and then I'm back on my couch playing on my PlayStation Portal. But yeah, the Steam Deck is a great piece of kit. It felt really good. I got the OLED model.
Yeah.
Really like that.
Do you ever play Marvel Rivals with the Steam Deck?
No, because the thought of playing that game with a controller makes me shudder.
Oh, yeah. You'd have to be a Spider-Man main.
Yeah, I'd have to be a Spider-Man man. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes them at all. What else have I been playing? Death Stranding 2 I have been playing the heck out of. I actually took about a week and a half off of it. I am right at the end of the game. I have been loving it. I have been having a great time. I don't want to give a final verdict about how I feel about it until I finish, but right now when we're having the Game of the Year talks, I still feel like 33 is my Game of the Year. I love Death Stranding 2, but like 33 is just bringing something to the table that's so wholly original.
I'm just sitting here waiting for Ghost of Yotei, man, because I think that might snatch it for me. But we'll see. I haven't finished 33 yet, and you know what? 33. It might be one of those years where I'm like, 33 deserves it, but I wish it was Yotei.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm so excited.
TV show wise, Squid Game is all wrapped up. Finished that literally last night before I went to bed.
The first season or like
all of it.
Stuff?
All of it's done.
Oh, nice.
It is done in air quotes. You'll understand what I mean when you see the final 30 seconds.
Okay.
But it is all wrapped up as far as the stuff going on in Korea. It's fantastic. Definitely worth watching. The games are always interesting as always. The way they managed to get everybody back to playing the games, especially after like the way the first season wraps. But yeah, there's only 3 seasons of it. It's all out. Or I think it's technically only 2, but the first was broken into parts. So yeah, go check out Squid Game. All right, last thing we got to talk about, and we are going to keep this spoiler free, but we do need to briefly mention it. We went and saw Superman. Jesus Christ, that movie was so good.
Superman.
I cannot-
James Gunn's Superman.
I can't stop thinking about it. I
What
can't
can
stop
fucking
talking
say?
about it.
I can say, and I'll send the link to John so we can put it in the links at the bottom of this. There is a playlist on Spotify that James Gunn put together, where he himself takes a few seconds to talk about how he, in the process of writing the movie, made a playlist for every important character in the movie. And he gives a little introduction to what he thought about their personalities. It's like a 5 to 10 second clip of his voice being like, this is why I chose these songs. And it gives you about an hour of music. And there's like 12 of them. And they're all in one playlist, along with the actual soundtrack and stuff from the movie. It's incredible. The movie is phenomenal. It is, it's hard. It's so hard to get people to admit to liking Superman, one, because people think it's basic. I don't know why, but they think it's basic. And then to get people to admit that Superman is interesting and that the cadre is interesting. And this movie just takes all of that and balls it into a little ball and yeets it into the sun and just flashbangs you from minute 1 with excellent Superman, like just story and gravitas, and you feel Superman the entire time.
Did he punch anyone?
I mean, there were
Punched so many
punches.
people.
Of course, there are punches, but he spent most of the movie trying not to punch, and that was great. He didn't like. have to murder Zod in the first movie. It was a lot of Superman trying to be Superman. And Superman, if you know anything about Superman outside of the movies, the 3 or 4 movies he's been in, is that, he's part of a team in a world full of metahumans, and we get to meet them, and we get to see how they would interact with a character like Superman. And not in a look at all these gods, Zack Snyder sort of way, which I do not dislike, but in a very different, like, hey, we're all on a team, and look at this guy from fucking Smallville.
Probably about 3 or 4 weeks from time of recording this podcast, after the movie's been out for a good month or so, we are going to do a full boss room that really is going to be a full spoiler discussion about Superman. But
yeah, I'd like to use it to talk about all of the Superman,
there's so much to talk about when it comes to this movie. I will say the biggest positive thing that I can say about a movie is that if I come out of a movie knowing that I smiled through the whole thing, man, that's a certain type of Hollywood magic that you just don't get. And I think that right now, and I'll talk about this more when we do our full spoiler episode about it, in a time where the world is so politically charged and we find it so easy to hate one another because of our beliefs, the fact that a movie came out and told you that it's cooler to take care of one another than it is to hate one another is something actually magical. And I think that Superman, like, I had tears in my eyes at certain points because I was just like, man, I'm not even a Superman dude. Like, I read Superman, but I've never been like a Superman reader. And man, the movie made me want to go and order some trade paperbacks. I am going to be ordering the trade paperback of the guest appearance of the character that happens at the very end of the movie, which I will not spoil for you. It is something else, and it's very cool that James Gunn said not only is Superman cool, but it's cool to want to be as good as him.
Yeah, they finally did the main run that you're getting here from Gunn, and it's not 100% accurate or even remotely close, but it is based on it as All-Star. Yeah. And if any of you listening ever wanted to read any Superman, I would start
All-Star
with
Superman.
The All-Star run. It thinks about Superman in ways that you certainly haven't gotten in television or movies, but even for comics, it was rare and interesting.
Also, just another recommendation, pick up Superman versus the KKK.
Oh, also, yeah, absolutely. It's called Superman Smashes the Klan, and it is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. All right, that's everything that we have for the show this week. Don't forget that you can head over to Goodnight.gg to be a patron of our show. You can head over to Facebook.com/GNGGcast, where you can chat with us, as well as at GNGGcast on Twitter, and Goodnight.gg on Blue Sky to talk to me directly. All right, everybody. Well, until next time, for Hector, this is James.
And for James, this is Hector.
And for you, this is me.
Everyone, good night.
And good game.